Let us do today a little bit about bringing in some mathematical concept to explain the consciousness, right? So some of the questions we'll try to understand. We'll try to ask some of the questions. So these thoughts are coming from the concept of mathematics, the way the mathematics has evolved, and the work of Hilbert. Who basically originally tries to formalize the study of mathematics particularly, and the formalization he has begun the formalization by asking these questions: can we have a set of axioms, right? Can we have a set of axioms for the entire mathematical systems, and those set of axioms should be kind of consistent among themselves, right? So that one was the original questions. And also one of the interesting aspect probably that time has been observed was to avoid some sort of intuition to influence the mathematics, and therefore it's break down some kind of structure, right, in the mathematical system. So therefore, in order to avoid that, we should have probably the Hilbert has thought in this way, that if we can have some mathematical basic or the foundational axioms or the fundamental axioms, right, and from where we can start off and try to derive the concepts or the theorems further. So but idea was that to avoid the intuition, that we need to understand exactly how the intuition was influencing the mathematical structure, and therefore the Hilbert might have thought of to avoid that mathematical to that influence of intuition into the mathematics. However, our today's questions with respect to the consciousness or the nature of consciousness. So is it possible to explain the nature of consciousness at least to some extent by using this concept of axiomatic mathematical system, which means that can we have a set of axioms, right, axioms which would help us, or can we come up with those set of axioms which would help us to explain some of the phenomena which is being exhibited by consciousness, right? We can think of consciousness itself as a separate sort of universe, or where it itself is a separate sort of domain, where different laws, where different concepts, different phenomena, entirely altogether different phenomena are kind of happening out there, and therefore in order to explain that, we requires a mathematical system, and that mathematical system we do not know how it should looks like. However, starting with the well structured mathematics which currently we use to explain the natural phenomena of this natural world, right, of this natural world. So similarly, can we extend the same concept of forming a mathematical axioms which would explain that conscious domain, right, the universe of consciousness, let's say, let us put it in this way, the universe of consciousness. So is it possible to have such kind of mathematics in that domain? So therefore we have to come up with a set of axioms, and those set of axioms should have this basic requirement of being should be consistent, right, should be consistent, and therefore they should be able to explain all the phenomena, all right, all the phenomena that is happening in the consciousness. So that is what is the probably we could think of. And now when you do this, so how do you do it, right? How do you come up with those set of axioms? How do you come up with those set of axioms? Now that is the main question. So do we need to investigate and really try to understand how the consciousness is probably different from whatever the natural phenomena, or let's say natural phenomena, that we see in this natural world, right? For example, how now, in order to do this, probably we have to go back and see this, how the axioms of the whatever mathematics we use have been formed, right? How the axioms have been formed. So therefore, if we go back and trace that, so we'll really end up in the logic, that we have to study the logic and see that how the logic has been formed, in order to understand, or let's say in order to form those fundamental axioms, right? So that we need to understand. So that is it's very important, and then probably we can think of whether what kind of axioms we need, or what kind of logic we